Now time for Heat 4 for Senior Rotax. This time it's groups B and D. Tommy van der Stuy's and Jot van Wyk will line up on the front row, followed by Jaden Teen and Vic Stevens. Archie Bussell and Julian Sednica round out row 3, with Christopher Sala and Ralph van der Pavert on row 4. Rounding out the top 10, it's Zino Falca and Puck Gubbles. Giorgio Markenstein and Gregor Feigenspan round out row 6, with Sverre Ubben and Colombia's Martin Herrera completing row 7. Manolo Sendin, and then we got Ryan van der Meer, row 8. Row 9, Simon Pio and Dante Sima. Tino Potier, Mika van der Pavert round out the top 20, followed by Maximilian Eckel and Sasha M. That is 22 karts. And I have noticed on my commentary box window overlooking turn 11, there are some very small spots of rain starting to hit the window. So the drivers are all on slick tyres, and rain could be inbound at a moment's notice. And the rain is falling. It is getting a little bit slightly more intense, but not to the point at the moment. But this could be the point where the weather changes everything. And we've seen it happen before. You are on slick tyres, it starts raining, the tyres go cold, you have no grip. It's like skating on an ice rink. And well put, Red Actions. This race is going to be hard as, and I'm not, I'll let you all think in your own minds how to complete the sentence. And because Red Actions knows that from experience. So the clouds up above are a little bit grayer, but of course this race will be kept under close observation by race director Thomas Leiner. We started with the day being today, well, the track being declared wet, so wet race conditions, and we've had dry running for quite a lot of the day. We still have, including this, 9 races to go. So we're past the halfway point of Heats Day. We have had a slight delay, obviously, with the red flag earlier, but the drivers now starting to get into formation. 10 minutes on the timer plus an additional lap. Red lights are on the gantry. Into the tram lines. Red lights are on, lights are out. We're underway. Now let's see who gets the whole shot. It's Tommy van der Stuy's who leads the field into turn 1, closely being followed by Jaden Teen in the 359. 3-4 abreast coming out of turn 2. We have had a little bit of a collision back at the back of the pack. But everyone, oh, it's getting a bit feisty at the back end of the field. 3 wide coming out of turn 4, and we've already got one spinning off. And that was coming out of turn number 4 and into 5. And that was the 371 of Christopher Sala from Austria, who started in 7th position. So the drivers are going to be really sort of careful. It's like tippy-toeing around on eggshells at the moment. They have really just got to try and do what they can, but when Vic Stevens has just hit the curbs off of turn 9 and nearly went straight on onto the grass, oh, dearie me, that was late on the brake spot, and an apology there by the, I think that was Zino Falca, possibly, that went into the side of somebody else, probably Julian Setnika, and apologised profusely. And the rain is still coming down. Mechanical black flag is being shown for 317. Oh, dearie me. Colombia's Martin Herrera had a DNF in race 1 and has now been found for his kart to be non-compliant, prompting the mechanical black flag, or as we would say in the United Kingdom, the meatball flag. That means you need to park it within 3 laps. And at the moment, in these conditions, Tommy van der Stuy's is 3.7 seconds up the road. So everyone's having a bit of a tough time out there. And don't discount the race leader. he's not battling with anybody. He's got a lot of clear air in front of him and a lot of clear air behind him. And someone who can be very much in that realm of, okay, I think I've got this. I think I know what I'm doing. If anyone might remember when Jenson Button went onto slick tyres during the 2011 Canadian Grand Prix, went off and then went on to win it in terrible conditions. One of the longest Formula One Grand Prix in modern day history, if at all, the entire history of Formula One. So there is the 326 of Georgia Markenstein in 10th position at the moment. So the field is starting to spread out a little bit. As we have 70% of the race, plus an additional lap still to go on the timer. And, yep, a bit close there for, I think that was, more than likely, that was Vic Stevens, who's behind Archie Buttle on the road. And I think that's Zeno Falca just behind them in the 349. So, again, it's just Tommy Beast. Yep, there we go. Or Mr. Domination, as I used to nickname him when he was a Micromax driver back in 2019, Bram. But there is a little bit of exchange between Zino Valka and Vic Stevens, and Stevens is ahead. There is the 305 of Feigenspann just behind. They ran out the top 10. So again, it's just sometimes getting yourself around the circuit without having the biggest amount of dramas, as Vic Stevens gets past Jort van Wijk for position. So Van Wijk has had a little bit of a moment. He was running P3 up until just a moment or two ago. Vic Stevens runs wide coming through turn 9. Van Wijk pulls up the inside of him. There is Jaden Teen. Tommy van der Suy's new fastest lap in these conditions. And the rain isn't significant enough to prompt a change of a potential red flag where drivers would have to change tyres, as Archie Buttle looks up the inside of Julian Setnika. So the Brit with KR Sport looking to try and get through on the 330 as Zino Falca gets through on Jort van Wijk. That was for position, that was for 6th on the road. And whilst these drivers are going down through turn 7, Tommy van der Stoij's lead is going to be more than 13 seconds at the end of this race. Thank you very much for the sympathy there, Corey. I mean, it's just part of the territory having to read this chat. I said, don't worry about that. I'm not the only one that's probably reading it. It's everyone else that's watching at the moment. But it's always good to interact with you folks that are watching anyway, when I can. 1 minute 3.881 was Tommy van der Stoij's last lap time. Gap between him and Jaden Thien is 15.2 seconds and climbing. And, oh, right, that is an SR Solutions kart. And that is off of turn 2. And I'm wondering who that is. Now, now that might not be, I'm hoping it's not Ralph van der Pever in the 368. I can't make out the number, to be honest with you. Well, if it's not the 3, it could be Puck Gubbles. And yeah, it is Puck Gubbles who, well, the body language told a story, as if to say he was very hacked off on that one. And I'm sure that the air underneath his race helmet visor will be very, very blue indeed. Because that's what every driver does not want. They don't want a problem or a failure. Because first of all, it puts you on the back foot. And during a heat stay, that's when more of the damage of trying to battle for the win or battling for you know, a solid top 10 to get your season going in the right way can be very detrimental to the mental aspect of motorsport. So Martin Herrera out, Puck Gubbles now out on lap 5. As there is Archie Buttle, and Julian Setnica will now have to have eyes in the back of his head and looks quickly over the right shoulder twice in rapid succession, coming out of turn 6 and going on to the Europlan, with Archie Buttle looking to possibly start this part of the weekend with a top 3 finish, and that will put him into a good headspace later on today. And again, it's just getting a little bit touchy. The rain has started to intensify. Now I can see out of the right-hand side of my commentary box position the roof that's actually on top of the a la carte brasserie, and there is a puddle that is starting to increase in size, and the raindrops are intensifying. So I think we're at that point now where it won't be dry weather tyres, because I saw Zeno Falca a little bit wide out of turn 10. There was a big old snap of oversteer for Julian Setnica, who's got Archie Buttle hot on his tail, and Buttle nearly got through at turn 2. Setnica went a little bit wide, lit up the rear tyres, and went boom, straight ahead at full velocity. Archie Buttle trying to make sure that the Cosmic chassis underneath him in the resplendent KR Sport colours is not having a bit too much sideways action on the rear axle. So we are heading towards, moment there for Zeno Falca, and both he and Vic Stevens mount the curbs through turn 8. Stevens just gets through, nearly gets a little bit of a touch on the rear bumper, courtesy of Zeno Falca. Red flag. Red flag has been called. Sensible decision by race control. It was the point whereby we've gone well over 75% time distance, and that is why we've had 2 drop off the circuit. 332. Rein van der Meer being one of them, and the other one looks to be, I think, well, that's the 303, Tino Potier, off at turn 1 and 2. So with 56 seconds on the clock, red flag has stopped the race, with Tommy van der Stoys pretty much having done a number on the rest of the field, including second place driver Jaden Teen. Julian Setnica was being closed on in by Archie Buttle, but held on to third place. Zeno Falca, Vic Stevens, Gregor Feigenspan, Jort van Wijk, Sverre Ubben and Giorgio Merkenstein rounding out the top 10. Mika and Ralph van der Pavert round out the top 12. Dante Sima, Sasha Aim, so they've basically stopped the race at the point of the red flag. Tino Potier provisionally 15th, Rein van der Meer 16th. Maximilian Eckel 17th. Christophe Sala tumbled all the way down to 18th. Simon Pierre and Manolo Sendat ran at the 20 strong that made it to the red flag. Puck Gubbles out on lap 4 at turn 2, and Martin Herrera pulled in for a mechanical black flag. So I would imagine the case that there will be some possible activity in the dummy grid for a potential switch to wet weather tyres.